Hello, sidekicks. That's what we're calling you now. And yes, I'm doing the intro today. Welcome to the second episode of Hero Herald. This is highly anticipated. It's such an exciting event. I could literally do this all day. How about my co-host, Todd? How about you?
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Hero Herald, episode 2.
You didn't answer my question.
Oh, what was your question? I'm sorry.
Couldn't you just do this all day?
It's pretty fun. It's just talking, and I like to talk.
Yes. A lot of times I think to myself I talk too much, but when you're doing a podcast, you can just talk, blah, 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 talk. Now, here is the answer of last episode's trivia question.
And the trivia question was, what Batman villain speaks only in action words?
Yes.
And the answer is...
Onomatopoeia.
Yeah, an onomatopoeia is from a comic series written by Kevin Smith and Walt Flanagan, the Cacophony and Widening Gyre comics. And sorry, we're not going to talk about Batman the whole time. We did that last time. Today's episode, we're talking about Jonah's favorite superhero,
Iron Man. And for some reason, when you said Walt Flanagan, I thought of the word riboflavin.
It does sound kind of like that, yeah.
I don't even know what riboflavin is.
So if I could give a little background on your journey with Iron Man, and then we can talk about what we like about Iron Man, because I gotta say, I like him a lot too. So Jonah, as a small child, liked heroes like a lot of little boys do. And what happened was, I think he got some little toys, some action figures for Christmas, and he played with them. They were Marvel toys. He had a little Hulk, a little Wolverine, and that sort of stuff. Do you remember those or not?
I sort of remember those toys.
Okay, and then Jonah kind of got into the Avengers as an idea, as a concept, and he had never heard of them. And so Kristen and I, Jonah's mom and I, we rented an Avengers movie for Jonah, and it had all these heroes in it that we had never seen before. At least I hadn't, because I'd never been a Marvel kid. And in it, you had your basics. You had your Thor and your Captain America and all this stuff. And yet there was this hero in the cartoon, the little DVD, named Iron Man. I had never heard of Iron Man in my life. And Jonah, you just loved Iron Man, right? I mean, you were just drawn to this character, and so much so that Jonah, even as a little kid, we're talking maybe like 3 or 4 years old, is saying, I want more Iron Man toys. I want to know about Iron Man. And of course, I wasn't into comics at the time. I didn't know anything about Iron Man, and we could not find Iron Man toys anywhere. We didn't know anything about it. The internet was much younger then. We didn't really do Wikipedia. We didn't look it up. But Jonah wanted Iron Man. That's the only hero he cared about. And then I remember sitting at our kitchen table late one night on the internet and seeing this news story that coming that summer was
Iron Man.
Iron Man, the movie.
And we lived in Lufkin, so our mall, if you live in Lufkin, you would probably know that it had a movie theater. So I saw that it had an Iron Man poster, and I was like, and believe it or not, I actually liked Batman first. But the only reason that I started to like Iron Man, which my dad did not include this, is because he was red. That's my favorite color.
Right.
Red. So I was like, that's a red guy. I'm paying attention to him.
Yeah.
Now, if he was his other color, like black and gold, then I probably would have been like, eh.
Yeah, so Jonah was real into red at the time, and I remember...
I still am.
Right, that's true. But I remember we went from having no Iron Man anywhere to, like, toys everywhere with the movie coming out. And commercials and T-shirts and all sorts of stuff. And so we decided, and here's what we didn't know. This is what we were a little worried about, because we wanted Jonah to be able to see this movie. But we didn't know... And you were probably 5 by that time. I don't remember when it came out. I probably ought to look it up. But we didn't really know, like, oh, can Jonah see it? I don't really know. And so we worked out this plan that on the week it came out, Jonah's mom would go see it. And she went, I believe it was on a Thursday night. And we stayed up and we were really excited. And she came home and she walked in and she had this look on her face. She had this huge grin. Do you remember this?
No.
Okay, so she comes home, and so she looks at me and Jonah, and it's like we're waiting. We're just looking at her like, are we going to get to go? Are we going to get to go? Yeah, 2008 is when it came out. Yeah, and so we're just looking. So 5 years ago, you were six. You were six, and so we're looking at her at the kitchen table, and she goes, Jonah, and we were like, and she's like, and she kind of pointed, and she said, you're going to see Iron Man. And we were so excited. And so I don't know if you know this, because Iron Man 1 has at least one scene that's kind of inappropriate.
I know that.
Yeah, so she told me when it came, and she was like, you make sure Jonah hides his eyes on that part. And since then, we've seen Iron Man 1 and Iron Man 2. We're very excited for Iron Man 3.
Yeah.
Jonah's got tons of Iron Man action figures, video games, shirts with it, comics, obviously.
Yes.
And really, you kind of become a fan of Robert Downey Jr. through the Iron Man.
Sherlock Holmes.
The Iron Man franchise. So let me ask you this, Jonah. Now for you, obviously the listeners hear that you love Iron Man, but what is it? Because now it's not just about him being red. I mean, it was right at first.
Yeah.
But you know so.
I like him because he's red.
Now you know so much about Iron Man. Now, why don't you tell us what you like most about him?
Before I say that, I need to say one thing.
Okay.
Yes, I'm 11 and I play with action figures. # deal with it. Okay, that was awkward. Probably the thing I like most about him is because he's just pretty up awesome, which is a word that I made up.
But what makes him awesome?
Yes, because he's invincible. Well, practically invincible. He's one of the only superheroes that doesn't wear a cape.
Right. That makes him unique.
Yes. He doesn't wear tights.
Right.
Thank goodness.
Right.
I mean, he's just awesome.
All right.
He's very... I'm not sure if I should say caring, because I might embarrass Iron Man fans. Though, little.
Why? Why would that?
I don't know.
Caring? Is that what you said?
Yes, but it's like sharing is caring.
Well, I think you're getting into the reason why I like Iron Man. And so I will say the reason I like Iron Man, the movie certainly converted me. Okay, so we said in the first episode, we're going to talk about comics, we're going to talk about movies. And so the movie, Iron Man 1, directed by Jon Favreau, was so good because I loved that Tony Stark had a moral change in his life. His conscience got the better of him. I love that he goes through a transformation. And even though Tony Stark is kind of the opposite of everything I try to be as a person. I mean, he's arrogant, he's selfish.
He's a self-destructive narcissist.
Yeah, he's wasteful. He's all those things. And
he's
yet,
a playboy.
Yeah, but I loved that he changed. And I love that the movies have played that out. That's what I like about Iron Man. And really, as a person who's a follower of Christ, I love that. I love that
I'm also a follower of Christ.
Yeah, and I love seeing that sort of change. Now, let's go to the other side of things, and things that we might not like, or maybe just wish they were a little bit different about Iron Man, or maybe even about Tony Stark. I mean, maybe you would say Iron Man's great, Tony Stark. Or Jonah, are there any things, or do you need a second to think about it? Because I know what mine is.
Let's see. The thing that I don't really not dislike anything about Iron Man. The only thing I dislike about it's like Tony Stark, and he's selfish.
Yeah, I think so. I think I would agree with that. That's the thing that I don't like. Now, as a dad, I don't like that some of the movies, the videos, the comics sometimes do. They can be a little bit inappropriate because they're trying to show that he's this rich guy who kind of does whatever he wants. And
I was gonna say inappropriate, but not really. He's inappropriate, like they make him.
Well, but even in the comics, and if you remember, the famed story about Iron Man is that Iron Man was created by Stan Lee. Do you remember why?
Yeah.
What was okay, I don't know if you, I know you've heard this.
No, I don't think I have.
Iron Man was created because someone dared Stan Lee. They challenged him and said, we want you to make a character that people will hate and see if you can change him. Can you create a character that people hate and then in the progress of a comic make him someone they love? And he did that. So he tried to make Tony Stark we know Tony Stark isn't real. So the writers who create the character,
unfortunately,
they do make him an inappropriate guy. And so, yeah, that's probably one of the things that I don't like about it. But there's still a lot of good stuff to Iron Man as well. We have a special guest with us who just entered the studio. Come in for a second. Hi.
He tried to shoo me away.
I thought about calling you. Everyone, this is my wife, Jonah's mother, Kristen, is here. And y'all are about to knock me over.
She just punked me.
We were just talking about how when Jonah wanted to see the first Iron Man movie, that you went and saw it first. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And do you remember what you said when you came home?
But there were 2 parts that he wouldn't like.
Right.
One was when they pulled the tube out of his nose. He pulled it out.
Oh, I forgot about that.
That didn't really gross me out.
But it did then, though.
It did?
But there was also an inappropriate
And then there
part.
was with the reporter.
But we were remembering that you walked in and we were at the kitchen table at the house in Lufkin. And we were just like looking at you. We were so nervous you were going to say no. And you went, Jonah? And we were like leaning forward. And you pointed and said, you're going to see Iron Man.
I probably screamed like a little girl.
No, let's not do that. Okay, yeah, so we're talking about Iron Man. Do you have a favorite thing about Iron Man?
Mm-hmm.
What?
That part where he hammers the suit without a shirt on.
What?
That is my favorite part.
Because he's getting ready?
No.
Because he's so muscly?
Because he's muscly and cute.
Goodbye. We're not talking about
Muscly
cuteness.
isn't even a word.
So Jonah and I really are in agreement on the good things we like about Iron Man, as well as the parts of Tony Stark that we're not really that crazy about. So we're kind
Fortunately, he has become like less inappropriate in the movies.
Yeah, I think so.
Sort of literally non.
Yeah, well, there's some stuff that he says that could be taken that way sometimes. And he was great in the Avengers. He played a huge role in the Avengers. And we are very excited about Iron Man 3, right? We've seen a couple of the trailers. Looks really cool. Now, you and I had heard, do you remember what we heard, that the Iron Man 3 movie was going to follow a comic storyline? Do you remember hearing that?
Yeah, it's like Extremis. And
Right. Extremis is a storyline in the comics.
it's where there's this.
Now, we should warn you, we don't know if we're right about this. If we are right, we're going to go ahead and say spoilers.
Spoiler alert, if you don't want to hear this.
But we may be wrong, but just know we've heard this theory of what Iron Man 3 is gonna be.
So we don't know the ending.
Sure.
But apparently there's S.H.I.E.L.D. created this thing called Extremis, and it like really does make you invincible. And
Because it's a part of your body, right?
yeah, like it's in your bloodstream.
Yeah.
It's like Spartan from Halo.
We like going to the midnight showings, so we might do that. I don't know. We're usually pretty exhausted.
We did that. We did that with the Avengers and Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah, we sure did. So we're very excited about Iron Man 3. We like Iron Man around here. If you were in our house, you'd see a whole bunch of Iron Man stuff. And so, yeah. So, what are your thoughts on Iron Man? We'd love it if you tweet us specifically. And we asked you last time to tweet us, kind of your favorite superheroes. But what about you? Is there something about Iron Man you really love or really hate? You certainly could tweet me at Todd Wright Band or
at Jonah Gamer.
At Jonah Gamer. And really, in discussing Marvel in general, this fall the new S.H.I.E.L.D. TV series is coming out.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, so we need to talk about that. And then you mentioned something something today about Halo, and even Halo is kind of a hero story. We probably ought to talk about that.
And Samson from the Bible.
Oh yeah, well that's true. That's about.
We may not talk about him.
Yeah, well we might. Who knows?
Could.
Yeah. All right. So last time we ended with a little
and don't
trivia.
forget to check out our YouTube channels. I'm Jonah Gamer. He's Toddy Rowe.
And last time we had a little Batman trivia. So we're going to end with some Iron Man trivia. So you can use Twitter to answer the question. I'm going to obviously defer to my son, who knows so much more about Iron Man than I do. So Jonah, why don't you hit him with some Iron Man trivia?
So the trivia question of the episode is, how many Iron Man armors are there?
Ooh, very good question. There are a lot. There are more than you would think. You can do a little research, or you could even sometimes in the movie, I think they even call some. We're not gonna give any away, but when we come back on next episode, we certainly will give the answer. Yes. And at some point, we really ought to give a prize if someone gets it right. But let's see how many listeners we have first. I don't want to go out and buy something something expensive.
It's like you go, oh my gosh, I'm gonna go buy something for our listeners, and then you buy like an Xbox, and it turns out we have like 5 listeners,
you buy
and
an
no one
Xbox.
gets the right answer. You're like, come on.
Yeah. All right. So thanks for listening. We'll be back with the next episode. We don't have any idea what the next episode is going to be about, but we can guarantee you it'll be honest, it'll be fun, and it'll be about superheroes. So until next time, bye, guys.
Goodbye.